Assalamu alaikum. Could you kindly ask the people at the back to kindly come forward if possible? We need a lot of people to come in, as well as the ladies. There's a nikah ceremony after Jummah Salah. So even the ladies, kindly make space in the left-hand side where you are. I'm sure you can hear and see me. So kindly fill the spaces so that we have less interruption once we start the Jummah, inshallah. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين وعلى أصحابه وعلى جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين. قال الله تعالى بعد أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم والعصر إن الإنسان لفي خسر إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات وتواصوا بالحق وتواصوا بالصبر. صدق الله العلي العظيم. In the name of Allah, most gracious, most merciful, all praise is due to our Creator, our Cherisher, our Nourisher and our Sustainer. We bear witness there's none worthy of worship but Allah. We bear witness we believe in all the prophets, and we bear witness that Prophet Muhammad ibn Abdullah, Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa alihi wa ashabihi wa sallam, is the final of all the emissaries and messengers of Allah. Respected elders, brothers and sisters, respected youth, our visitors from outside, I greet you with the Islamic universal greeting of peace. May the peace, the mercy and the blessings of Allah be upon each and every one present here at this auspicious hour of Jum'ah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. In the Holy Quran, Allah swears by the token of time, by the passage of time. Wal Asr. And that time by which He swears is a witness to life and death, a witness to what has passed in human history, a witness to the successes and failures, to the rise and falls of individuals and communities. It is a witness to beginnings and to endings. And as time marches on, we are constantly losing the capital of our existence. And what is the capital of our existence? It's the minutes, the hours, the days, the weeks, and the years that we exist on this earth. The greatest luxury is the luxury of time. For like health, it's among those things that money cannot buy. That's why the Rasul said about both, نِعْمَتَانْ مَغْبُونٌ فِيهِمَا كَثِيرٌ مِنَ النَّاسِ الصِّحَّةُ وَالْفَرَاغُ. There are two things that people most neglect, yet they are valuable, but people are most heedless of two things: your free time and your health. So as we look, these moments that pass by can never be retrieved from the stream of the past. Spiritual awareness as time goes by may increase. Our material potentials, however, decline, while our physical abilities and our mental abilities fade away. And despite our, mashallah, technological advancement of which we are proud, after swearing by the token of time, Allah says, إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ. Humanity at large seems nonetheless lost in a quagmire of restlessness, of insecurity, of uncertainty, of hostility, of loneliness, of stress, of faithlessness, and of disillusionment. But life, as we know, is a test. الَّذِي خَلَقَ الْمَوْتَ وَالْحَيَاةَ لِيَبْلُوَكُمْ. So we are tested, but we are tested within the ambit, within the arena of time, because we are born in time, we live in time, and we die in time. And Allah reminds us in the Quran, أَوَلَا يَرَوْنَ أَنَّهُمْ يُفْتَنُونَ فِي كُلِّ عَامٍ مَرَّةً أَوْ مَرَّتَيْنِ ثُمَّ لَا يَتُوبُونَ وَلَا هُمْ يَذَّكَّرُونَ. Are they not aware, are people not aware that they are being tested year in and year out? And despite being tested year in and year out, people do not seem to reflect, to take critical self-evaluation, to repair the wrongs they have done, nor do they learn lessons from what they have experienced. We are in the last week of 2019. We are also in the final week of this decade. It began on the 1st of January 2010. It ends on the 31st of December 2019. A tumultuous decade indeed, and we have witnessed events that impacted on the course of history. If you look at the world, politically, authoritarian regimes are in power, and many countries in the Western world, we find a very alarming and distinct rise in anti-Muslim sentiments. Xenophobic, racist, bigoted leaders, and we find the rise increasingly of prejudicial political parties. If you look at the global landscape, in the last decade I'm talking about, it seems that everywhere, elitist, killer clowns it may seem, promoting racism and xenophobia are taking over the reins of power. From Donald Trump in America, Boris Johnson in England, Narendra Modi in India, Mohammed bin Salman in Saudi, Matteo Salvini, Italy, Viktor Orban in Hungary, Benjamin Netanyahu in occupied Palestine, Abdel Fattah al-Sisi in Egypt. If we look at all of this, Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil, all of these, Marine Le Pen in France, Nigel Farage in Britain, all of these are clear indication of the shift in the leadership of the world towards a colonialist agenda, an imperialist agenda, an agenda that could negatively impact the nations that they are in charge of or in control of, but also impact the world at large negatively and perchance in an irreversible way. We witnessed the Arab Spring that started in Tunisia, which was a series of anti-government protests, uprising and armed rebellions that spread across much of the known Muslim world as a response to oppressive regimes, low standards of living, unemployment, lack of opportunities. And we should learn from this. Just saying Islam and because we are Muslim doesn't mean it's going to solve problems. Just putting a sheikh or a maulana in charge will not eradicate your issues. Just quoting Quranic verses will not be a solution to the problems. Look at the reality, identify what they are. Take people who know what they are doing, who've experience in what requires to be done. Put those people in charge if we can. It seems it's not happening because even democracy is not really working. So we witness events from the beginning of the liberating Arab Spring to the ongoing devastating wars in the Middle East, which has made in the past decade 15 million Muslims homeless. From the destructive killings of the Rohingya Muslims in Myanmar and Burma, to the disturbing incarceration of Uyghur Muslims in China, and the debilitating undermining of Muslim rights in India, which we are still witnessing as we are speaking. We find images etched in our minds that defined our perception, from climate change to environmental crises, images of floods in parts of the world and dismal droughts in other parts of the world. فَسِيرُوا فِي الْأَرْضِ فَانْظُرُوا كَيْفَ كَانَ عَاقِبَةُ الَّذِينَ مِنْ قَبْلِهِمْ. Look at what happened to the people before you. Learn lessons and see what devastation has been brought about by the hands of people. Snowfall between Makkah and Medina, and raging fires still going on today in Australia. Images that shocked the world in the past decade of Muslim refugee children washed up ashore on the shores of Europe, and gunmen attacking mosques in New Zealand at the time of Jum'ah. We have memories that cannot be erased. Yes, we said farewell to Nelson Mandela and to people like Muhammad Ali, but we had to deal with people like Donald Trump and President Zuma. This year, we commemorated 50 years of the passing of an icon, of a noble hero of the struggle, in this land, a man after whom this road is named, in which the mosque is Imam Abdullah Harun. 50 years since the martyrdom of Imam Abdullah Harun, while simultaneously we witness the Zondo Commission dealing with issues of state capture and corruption in the corridors of the highest offices of power. South Africa, brothers and sisters, is facing a challenge of the legitimacy of its political and socio-economic system. A growing number of our citizens are being left behind, and this is a recipe for revolution and a disaster for those who think they are comfortable. Beset by a plague of violence, of poor growth, 34% of the employable people in this country are unemployed. What are we doing about that? What are Muslims doing about it? Are we addressing it in our forums? Is it part of our ulama council meetings? People are starving. We're fighting about means of making wudu and Hanafi wudu and Shafi wudu, and there are people who don't have water to drink, while we have the luxury of debating about secondary issues on fiqh. Focus and attention. South Africa is plagued by violence, poor growth, a legacy of state capture, rampant corruption. We are facing a deepening crisis. In the past decade, we also witnessed a massive wave of change called the Fourth Industrial Revolution that has fully landed. It introduced a phase in human scientific development, surpassing all technology of the past, altering the realities of the present, and defining aspects of the future. Technology, alhamdulillah. We have now the ability with CRISPR. As I came in, and I saw 3-4 doctors coming in, so I hope I'm not saying the thing wrong, by the way. It's a bacterial immune system whereby they're able to do powerful gene editing, where they can change the color of the baby in the womb of the mother. They can deal with gender issues. It can, of course, assist in eradicating major diseases, but can also be used to edit human for reproductive purposes. And it can open the doors to many ethical questions and to many moral debates. This decade, we also witnessed, for the first time ever, a direct image of the black hole in space, in a galaxy 55 million light years away. That's how connected we are. Yet, we are killing so many people in so many countries. People are killing the citizens. Those who are in power are killing their own citizens, even in Muslim lands. So connected with the outside world, so connected with everyone, yet so disconnected with our reality within our homes. Much has happened that will have a significant impact on the world forever. Though South Africa won the Rugby World Cup, Sheikh Ismail, so there was something to celebrate. However, by and large, it seems globally it was a year of protests, a year of demonstrations in Hong Kong, in Spain, Iran, Bolivia, Nicaragua, Russia, India, America. But it's also been a decade of high-tech invention, of devastating conflict, of global disruption, and of political corruption. So despite our technological advancements, and mashallah, the great achievements that we have, that we should laud and celebrate, innal insana lafi khusr. Human beings seem increasingly in a state of loss, in a state of insecurity, uncertainty, in a state of loneliness and disillusionment. And therefore, the short surah of the Quran, Wal Asr, which, by the way, the Rasul used to read to his Sahaba when they used to separate, they used to read this as a reminder, because it has 4 principles of salvation. Amanu wa amilu salihat wa tawasaw bil haqq wa tawasaw bis sabr. Having faith, binding yourself to the ideology of truth, manifesting that faith in positive, good, beneficial action, promotion of what is right, what is just, what is true, wa tawasaw bil haqq, promotion of it, wa tawasaw bis sabr, helping one another to patiently persevere, to be able to take on the challenges that are being experienced. So 3 steps I would remind us. 1, to engage the reality of the world we find ourselves in. 1, amanu, the idea of iman. Because iman conscientizes us of our eventual accountability. A person of Iman can never be a person indifferent to the reality around him or around her. The question one needs to ask as a person of faith, if you say you are of those who believe, where am I in relation to myself, in relation to my Creator, in relation to my near and dear ones, in relation to the key issues that affects the society where I live in, and where am I in relation to the world, the larger world, which is increasingly becoming a village. What is my relation to the larger world that we all live in? Don't forget the major practical issues facing the world are hunger, global warming, water scarcity, oppression, wars, disparity between rich and poor, illiteracy, energy waste, gender-based violence and inequalities, depletion of mineral resources, lack of health care, destruction of the natural environment. Which of these issues are fundamental issues to the common existence? Remember, we are kuntum khayra ummah ukhrijat linnas. We are the best of people for the benefit of humanity. Which of these issues are on our religious agenda, on our educational agenda? Which of these are in the minds of our children and our youth as they are going towards degrees for the future? So one is faith that conscientizes us of our accountability. 2, آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, engagement through action. Action that is relevant to the challenges and the needs of the time. Be aware of the reality around you. Know what is happening. Take cognizance of the impact of what is happening. Be aware of what the issues are. Realize what is required to be done and decide what is it that I can do in my small or in a big way. A life of relevance is a life of impact. How many of the inventions, even the wars that Muslims fight among themselves, killing each other, are by arms bought by other people? The cars we drive are the cars of other people. What do we produce? Besides dates that come from Medina and kufiyas we bring from Makkah, they are made in China. What do we produce? A life of relevance is a life of impact. It's a life of being lived to add value to humanity and to society. How will I account for my action or my inaction in the face of challenges around me? Inna ilayna iyabahum, thumma inna alayna hisabahum. Allah says, to us is your return, and you will be held accountable upon your return. In a world more interconnected than ever before, we ponder, and as we leave the old year and move towards the new year, we ask ourselves, what have I done with my yesterdays? What am I going to do with my tomorrows? We are commanded, as we always remind ourselves in every khutbah, Ya ayyuhal ladhina amanu ittaqullah wal tanzur nafsum ma qaddamat lighad. Oh, you who proclaim faith, be conscious of Allah and carefully consider what you have sent forth for tomorrow. Action is required. Sahal at-Tustari, one of the mystics, Persian mystics in the 9th century, he said, الناس كلهم موتى إلا العلماء والعلماء سكارى إلا العاملين والعالمين كلهم مغرورون إلا المخلصين. He said, all human beings are dead except those who do good deeds are deceived, except those who are sincere and compassionate. Do what needs to be done. Do it with sincerity, with empathy, with love. If you do what you do with love, you will love what you do. And you will be loved for what you have done. And if no one appreciates, at least Allah will love you. وَأَحْسِنُوا إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُحِبُّ الْمُحْسِنِينَ. Do good. Allah loves those who do good. So when we say empathy and compassion, we mean to be sensitive to the plight and the dilemma, the predicament of others. I constantly mention the hadith of Rasulullah, where the Rasul said, رَأْسُ الْعَقْلِ بَعْدَ الْإِيمَانِ التَّوَدُّدُ لِلنَّاسِ. The essence of reasoning after accepting faith is to have love, compassion for humanity. وَإِسْتِنَاعِ الْخَيْرِ, to do whatever good you can, إِلَى كُلِّ بَرِّ وَفَاجِرٍ, irrespective of whether people are good or whether they are bad. Empathy creates relevance. Why? Because it creates a deep connection that brings people together. Wise ones have said, and some say the Rasul said so, is documented in the Bayhaqi of Shu'ab al-Iman of Imam al-Bayhaqi. But Allahu a'lam. إِذَا أَرَادَ اللَّهُ بِعَبْدٍ خَيْرًا إِسْتَعْمَلَهُ فِي قَضَاءِ حَوَائِجِ النَّاسِ. When Allah wishes good for a person, He grants that person the capacity to be an instrument for fulfilling the needs of those around him. So it is the end of the year, the end of a decade. It is the end of the year and the end of a decade. It is a mistake to think that time is going. Time is not going anywhere. Time is time. Time is here till the world ends. It is you that is going. So you and I don't waste time. You and I don't waste yourself. For wasting time is wasting yourself. It is you who grow old and die. Time does not die. So make best use of time. And times are not bad. It's people who do bad things in time. People say, times are bad. No, times are not bad. Sunday, Monday, Jummah. Times are not bad. People do bad things. We have become bad. If we are very good, times will be good. So don't say nothing I can do, times are bad. Na'ibu zamanana, Imam Shafi'i said, وَالْعَيْبُ فِينَا وَلَيْسَ لِزَمَانِنَا عَيْبٌ سِوَانَا. We blame time that times are bad, but times are not bad. It's we who have become bad. Because time has no crimes except the crimes we commit in time. So it's not necessarily a bad world so that we become negative. It is a different world. It is a challenging world. But after all, life is a challenge. Life is a test. It was meant to be challenging. And the people who were most challenged were the prophets. Why didn't Allah make all the Muslim people in Makkah become Muslim? Why did they go to Medina, come back, be removed, come back? Why? Why didn't Allah just make him in Makkah? Okay, the Prophet, you came there, everybody become Muslim, and then people in the world could follow the Meccans, and mashallah, they all became Muslim. His own family, by the way. At least his family could become Muslim. His uncles. It happened. So it's not necessarily a bad world. It is a different world. An increasingly different world. A challenging world. An ever-changing world. And though the world has always been changing, the rate of change has never been as great as in our times. And in the past decade, we have witnessed unprecedented acceleration in the pace of that change. You look at this instrument, how it changed from 2000 till now. The whole world is connected. Only thing I can't eat it, everything else you can do with this. The whole world in your hand, in your pocket. Not in my hand, in everyone's hand. Even the poorest person in the village somewhere can afford it. We are connected. So, though the world has been changing, the rate of change has never been as great as in our times. And the past decade, I said, has seen an unprecedented acceleration in the pace of that change. So as we engage the realities of life around us, and as we reflect on وَالْعَصْرِ إِنَّ الْإِنسَانَ لَفِي خُسْرٍ إِلَّا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ, as we reflect, we ask Allah. May Allah grant us vision. And it begins with that. Because if we are not connected to one another, why should I care what happens to the world? Why should I care? Vision to see the good in people. We are too busy. Even in our religious circles, who's kafir? Nobody's looking who's Muslim. Everybody's looking who's kafir. Vision that genuinely sees the good in people. Actions that genuinely benefit the people, irrespective. Ila kulli barri wa fajir. Whether they're Muslim or kafir or mushrik or murtad, that's their business. Allah will answer. You do good because you are good. So, actions that genuinely benefit people. Empathy that embraces all people. Hearts that forgives the faults of people. Minds that engender love for people. Memories that remember the best in people. Oh Allah, make us instruments of goodness. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله. People, I need to ask you right now. Please, I would request that all of you, if you see a gap in front of you and you stand up now for the adhan and the sunnah, fill the gaps. Please, let's not wait after Jummah, after the khutbah. So fill the gaps immediately, and inshallah. And to the ladies on the left-hand side, I know there are quite a few ladies additionally today because of the wedding and nikah after the Jummah. Or they went upstairs. So just please, inshallah, also do that to yourselves as well, inshallah. Shukran. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
جزاكم الله خيرا Sheikh Sadullah.